Not bad.
No?
It was a trip, that's for sure.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool on your posts and stuff like that.
I just liked it so much better because we actually started at 10 instead of like 4 a.m. trying to get sunrise. Because it was inside, right? So we didn't have to get sunrise for like the nice hours for the late.
That's true.
So it was like nice 10 a.m., 11 a.m. in the morning until 5, and it was good to go.
It's not too bad. Then I know you bought a pair of shoes out there.
I had to. Times Square, big ass store, like 3 floors.
How much those shoes cost you?
$125 US. It's
Okay,
like $180.
It's not too
transition. Bad. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
I had to.
No, that's fair, man. That's fair. I don't blame you. I would have bought a pair if I was there too. But no. Toronto was pretty good though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only went the one day because I only really needed to go the one day. It's not like I was buying anything there, so I didn't really need to stay too long.
That's fair.
Definitely saw a lot of stuff. Didn't really test anything.
Okay.
There wasn't really anything that I wanted to test.
Yeah.
You know, like they had the Ronin R2, which wasn't bad. Saw a couple of red cameras. There's a really cool thing where a guy had an RC car, a remote control car, and they'd fit like a red on it and stuff like that.
Dope.
And you drive it around for like filming. Didn't really get to see music because he wasn't there when I walked around, but we did see the car on there. Sony had a huge booth.
No, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, Sony's booth was insane. They had a boxing ring in there. Some guys boxing to test out the new autofocus, stuff like that. They had an owl with two models standing beside it.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And then they had another little spot which had a bunch of pink balloons and a girl pretty much dressed in all pink.
Alright.
Like face glitter and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. There's a Sony guy like per booth like kind of talking about it. A lot of glass.
For sure.
There, man. Like that Saturday was pretty packed.
Yeah. Like that's insane. Like I went to B&H, like the big one in the States in New York. Whew. 2 to 3 floors, massive, all the glass you want, cine lenses, like everything. They're like, so much gear by. It was insane.
Can I win the lottery tomorrow and
I know,
just buy everything? Or
I was in there three mornings in a row, and I was like, they had a used section too. I was like, ooh, I know they had like film cameras, film lenses.
That's
like,
dangerous.
Bro,
that's dangerous.
Everything. It's insane. Like you purchase your gear with a person.
Yeah.
And then they bring you to another section where you pay your receipt, and then they bring you to another section where you pick up your gear.
Okay, that's actually pretty smart.
It's dope, and like the warehouse is like Lazy Susan style, so it's like a section where you put your gear on, like crates, and it'll go around like in an elevator by itself and bring it to the second floor because the warehouse is downstairs, but it runs through a whole store. So like there's crates going like to the ceiling,
so there's just stuff going over your heads. And
that's pretty bins sick. On rollers, and then they go all the way down to like the packing section. Yeah, insane.
That's pretty crazy, man.
Insane setup.
That's insane.
Yeah, didn't buy anything. Well, I didn't. T-bot,
Yeah, that's fair.
Buy a new lav. It was like $300 off. If you buy it there, pretty much.
Fuck, that's not bad.
Like the Sennheisers, the lav mics, they're like 1.2 or 1.1K here. Over there, like $599.
Shit, eh? But the conversion rate is probably like
which comes down to like $800 or so.
That's still not bad.
And you got a $100 gift card back from that. I was like, bro, I know, I should have bought that. But yeah.
That's a lot more expensive than yours.
I know, but a lot better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Born to Create podcast. You can find our podcast on Instagram at Born to Create podcast. We're also on YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. If you're listening to this on YouTube, please do subscribe, like, and share. It does help a lot. If you're listening to this on iTunes and Spotify, please leave us a nice rating just so we can grow in the charts and more people can listen to us. But let's get into this. Let's introduce our guest.
Let's go.
He is a 24-year-old comedian, videographer, and photographer. Yes, I did read that off his bio. He has shot a music video for local artist Akeem O on the Ari Alexa Mini and Ronin 2, for those of you who know what that is. He has also worked on movie sets. Welcome, Julien Mamazza. I hope I said your last name correctly.
Yeah, close enough. No lights, bro. You gotta get the lights.
The red carpet.
Yes.
You can be the lights guy now.
I got this handled, guys.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Worries, man.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen you guys since Toronto back in August.
Yeah.
That was a fun time.
Oh, that was a blast.
That was an interesting.
Remember we ended up waiting like 3 hours for our food to get to David's place?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like laying down like, bro, where's the food?
Okay, let's give the people a little context behind
Yeah.
this. But basically, our boy David works for Red Bull, and then so me and Frank were there just to go shoot. Ended up shooting for Red Bull. I think it was the Friday. Yeah, it was the Friday night. We ended up going out with a couple of people from Red Bull. Then we met up with David, Julien, and I think it was like roommate and stuff like that. Had a good time.
Yeah, it was a fun time. Yeah, I was there to shoot a wedding actually. I was shooting the next day, but thankfully I didn't have to be at the venue until noon. Because it was like a late ceremony, late reception, so I was like, all right, sweet. So I didn't get like too lit, and I just took a nice little sleep, and I was good to go.
Yeah, I was on another level, that's for sure.
So I guess you packed all your gear ahead of time, or you just like...
Yeah, I had everything packed. Like the day before, I showed up. David had to go out to do something, and then I just like took the time. I was like, this is what I'm gonna need. Everything's on charge, sweet, and then I was just chilling, watching stuff on Apple TV until he got back.
That's not too
Yeah.
bad.
So I was like, I knew we were going out, so I just prepared.
Yeah, that's fair. No, yeah, ordered
Smokes for
poutine
tin.
at 4 in the morning.
Bro.
I was surprised they were open.
That was some good poutine though.
It was so good.
Okay, question. Did you guys have crushed ketchup chips on top?
No, you did that
you
though.
Why?
Because I wasn't like anywhere near drunk enough to consider that.
Why was it on my... I didn't even ask for it, bro.
But you,
It was in the thing when you
was-
ordered it.
yeah,
Oh, it's actually that was what
yeah,
it
It
was?
was called the Canadian. It was like maple. Yeah,
Bro, I didn't know, man. I think it was wild. Yeah, I was going to get the regular one, and Ace is like, fuck you, bro. Just go full out. I'm like, alright, fine.
yeah. No, and then like
What's
you
that?
showed up like, why is there ketchup chips on my potato?
Bro, ketchup chips crumbled on top with some pickles. I'm like, the fuck's this combo? It's good.
Yeah,
Because I was drunk as shit. I'm like, what the hell?
yeah.
I remember we talked about that for a good half an hour while you were eating.
Yeah, no. So we're not going with that again. But yeah, damn. So that's what happened.
Yeah, let's get right into the questions then.
Sure, shoot away.
So, when did you first pick up a camera, and like what camera was it?
Oh God.
If you remember.
It must have been when I was, I want to say 11, 12. I picked up like just like this handy cam at like Future Shop, and I really liked it. My mom got it for me for my birthday, and then my next door neighbor would make just like cheesy like movies and shit at home.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like put it down for a bit and didn't do too much with cameras until high school. I took our Comtech class. We had a photography one, so I did that, and I had a lot of fun doing that. But I never really thought of it as an avenue of income for me. Just because I come from a house where, you know, my dad's a surgeon, my mom, she's a paralegal, so I always thought, you know, doing that, like a creative type thing would be not, like, looked upon the best way from them, but I was totally wrong. I didn't give a shit. They just wanted to be happy. That was, like, my own stuff that I was dealing with. And so right after high school, I like, enrolled in advertising at Algonquin.
Okay.
And then I realized, because I was interested in making commercials, so I was like, this is probably a way I can get into that and still be, you know, academic side of it. So I took advertising at Algonquin, and then they're like, yeah, we're making print ads in Adobe InDesign for the first 2 years, and then we learn commercial theory in the third year. And I was like, oh,
fuck
that sounds awful. I was too scared to tell my dad I didn't want to take it because he'd already paid for the first semester.
Yeah.
So I failed out. I just didn't go to class. And then he knew what I was doing. He was just like, you know, you could have told me you didn't want to like keep going, and I'm not going to pay for you to go to school for something you hate and like aren't going to get a job in. Like, if find something you want to do and I'll pay for it, but don't think I was gonna be pissed that you want to drop out of something that you were hating.
Yeah, waste 4 months. Just
Yeah, I was like, well, that's a good point. So then I ended up, I was just working at TD Place for a bit, just like selling the merchandise for the Red Blacks, and then my boss at the time, he was in television broadcasting at Algonquin, and he was like, well, why didn't you like advertising? I told him, I was like, you know, I just want to make commercials and learn about that kind of stuff and like advertising strategies and how to like showcase products. And he was just like, oh, well, I'm in television broadcasting. Here's like a bunch of the stuff that we get to do. He showed me like a mini doc they got to make. They do like a short in first, like a short film, and then music video, and there's a studio class where you just make TV shows.
Sure.
Yeah, and like it's a 8-hour class every single week.
Yeah.
So I was like, that looks like something I'd really enjoy. So I ended up taking that, and that kind of gave me the foundation for how to expose properly, like all that stuff. Like in high school photography, like we learned the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And it was like auto settings half the time.
Yeah, that's fair.
So doing television broadcasting gave me a really good base for everything, and then I did my internship at Gusto Worldwide Media. They're a cooking station here in Ottawa. They're based off just like Thurston and Conroy.
Okay.
That's where their studio is. So I did 1 week of camera assist intern. So I was just helping out the camera team. I was just like swapping lenses whenever they had to change lenses, helping out with the beauty shots. So once we have like a finished meal, we would take it into like a back room, and we had like it's like a white tabletop set up with a white background. And we had like a automated slider over top, and we had a red, and we put the red onto that, and then like automate the movement over top of the dish. That way you get those kind of shots. And then I was pretty sketched out because I think it was like my third day doing the camera assist, the director, Matt West. He's a very nice guy. He was like, Julian, why don't you pick up the red, do the slow-mo for like the stirring and stuff like that. I was like, me? He's like, yeah, go ahead. I was like, okay. And like, there's no strap or anything. It's just like the red, the handle, the lens. It's like a 100mm Canon lens, and I'm like, oh god, okay. Just like don't drop it. And that was my first time touching like a red, like one of the cameras I'd heard about.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun. And then I did another week as a junior editor. Okay. Those guys had it rough. They were working the graveyard shift. They were working 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. every single day. It was like $190 a day for them. And I strongly debated on like trying to stay like working there as a junior editor after I finished my internship. But then I realized I couldn't do comedy if I wanted to. If I wanted to do that, I wouldn't have I couldn't go on the Wednesday or Tuesday nights for like the new talent showcase or like the pro-am shows. I couldn't do that if I was working 5 to 1 a.m. But I learned to cut in Avid there because Avid is kind of like just what everyone uses in TV.
Okay.
It's weird. You don't have a lot of flexibility in terms of you can't color in Avid or anything like that. So a lot of the stuff is there's other like DaVinci. I don't think they were using DaVinci at the time because it was like 2017. So they might not have been using DaVinci at the time. They might have been using something else for coloring. But pretty much they would do all the other stuff like color grade and audio mixing in different programs, and then when it had to be cut together, they would just put it into Avid and then cut it like that, which I get, but Avid's a pain in the ass to learn. It's not the same as other stuff. You can't do. I don't think you can do motion tracking or anything. It's so weird. You just can't do. Yeah, it's like cutting. It's like you're just cutting an Avid.
That's pretty stupid.
It's like Movie Maker, old school Movie Maker.
Yeah, but there's more stuff about it that made it industry standard for a long time. It was industry. I probably don't know. I definitely don't know enough about it to be able to tell you everything about it. But yeah. So I learned to cut on that, which was a learning curve. I had to have a guy sit with me for the first day to help me get through everything. I was cutting those 1 minute. You ever seen a tasty video where it's a 1 minute recipe type thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were cutting together stuff like that. So the senior editors would timeline everything out for us, and then we would have to just cut it all together. Stick to we'd have a list of stuff to stick to. Make sure you're showing this, and this, and just cut it to that. And make sure it's anywhere between 50 seconds to 1 minute and 10 seconds. So it was a pretty big margin that we could land within, but as long as it was in that 1 minute range, we were fine. Okay. And that was a lot of fun. And I freelanced for about 2 years after that, and I was doing weddings, content creation for small businesses, and that was fun. But I really enjoyed doing weddings the most out of that, and I actually still do weddings to this day. Just because it's a lot of fun. The couples are. I haven't dealt with any bad couples yet. I haven't dealt with a bridezilla.
You better knock on wood for that one.
Yeah, I haven't dealt with anything that's been a nightmare yet, which is awesome. But I get to meet some nice people. Like they're little mini networking events because people will like start talking to you, and then they're like, "Oh, how long have you been doing this?" And you just start talking, and if you're not busy, they'll be like, "Oh, I have a friend that might need something done." And I'm like, "Okay, well, like here's my contact info," and then you make connections that way. And I've gotten to work with some really cool people. Just like my friend Natasha, she runs a company called Dear Darling Films, and I run as a second shooter with her a lot. And I think I did 3 or 4 weddings with her this summer.
Okay.
Just because I was busy on movie sets. That's primarily what I'm doing now. Is I'm working on like Hallmark and Lifetime movies, because that's a lot of what gets made here in Ottawa. And it's just nice to be able to work with someone who you have a similar shooting style to. I'm sure you guys can attest to that. You guys are pretty similar in the way you guys like to do things. So it's nice to just like go out, catch people on like their happiest day ever.
Yeah.
Be able to catch that, give it to them, and just kind of like see the reaction. In fact, one of the videos we shot, me and Natasha, we the groom, all of his groomsmen were having trouble with their ties, and I was there doing the groom prep. So I was like, "Here, everyone give me your ties." I just started tying them ties, and I gave them back, and they're like, "Thank you." And then Natasha got an email from the couple, and it was from the husband. He was just like, "Tell your second shooter that he was like very good at helping." Like we were all very grateful for him helping us with our ties that day.
No, you should filmed that. Oh, that was good.
She also recorded like the couple's reaction to the video. She was like, "Hey, would you guys be cool filming yourselves reacting to the video?"
That's dope.
And so yeah, I got to see that, and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." Just
That's a
like
smart way of getting
because that's the first time I've
Yeah.
actually watched a couple watch like a video that I've worked on.
Right.
I mean, Natasha cut everything, but like just seeing like how they reacted to it was just great. Like I did my aunts and my uncles, and like that was fine, but like I was expecting them to like it, and they didn't have high expectations. Whereas like, and they weren't paying me like a whole lot. Those were my first few weddings, but when you see someone who's paid like a good amount of money to get a product from you, of like their most important day, like just the reaction is so nice to just take in. Yeah.
So like, how's your delivery system for the like once you're
when I do weddings myself?
Yeah.
So typically when I do like a wedding booked through me, I'll do like a full day, and I won't charge based on like the time. It's like $2,000 straight up.
Yeah.
And that gives you like 12 hours with me, and if you want an additional hour, it's an extra $80 an hour. Like if you have a longer ceremony, like a longer day. I mean, most people don't have 12-hour days, but I've seen it sometimes where they do. So I'll do a full 12-hour day, and then I'll cut together a small like 45-second like trailer for them in the first week, and then by the end of the second week, I'll have a full 5-minute, 4 to 5 minute like video for them to like watch. Like that's their product, and then if they want like the raws, like if they want like, hey, can we just get our ceremony and speeches uncut straight up, just like in one video?
Right.
That's like an extra $150.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like it's literally me. I don't do any color grading. I just drop it all into the timeline, and that's it.
That's fair.
That's not too bad.
So like, how do you actually deliver the footage? Is it through Vimeo, or do you actually personally?
I'll personally deliver it to them.
Okay,
I'll come with either a personal USB stick, or some people have been like, "Can you get a DVD?" So I've burnt a DVD. It's like, here you go. Yeah, and depending on the client, I'll either deliver in 4K or 1080. I don't charge extra for delivery. It's like however you want it is the way you want it. It's like, do you want it in 4K? Do you want it in 1080? And they're like, oh, what do you think's the best? And I'm like, I mean, 4K is gonna look nice if you have a nice monitor or TV to play it on.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, just export it in that. It's like, okay, fine. It's not a big deal. It's like I walk away from my computer and then I just go on my laptop for a little bit and chill.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some like tips for anyone getting into weddings, shooting video wise?
Weddings, you're gonna be busy the entire day. There's no really like you're gonna be. The first wedding I did, I shot on A7S II, and as we all know, the battery life on that was garbage.
You run so many. That's what I did in New York. Guess we were running with two of those.
The A7. So I like the picture of the A7S II. but I just hated the battery life so much. And like right now, I have an A7 III personally.
Okay.
I love that camera because the battery life's great. Autofocus is amazing, better than the A7S and its A7S II. But just so I was like running around, 2 batteries, and like I had like a fast charger for the battery, so
Okay.
I was recording when I needed to.
Yeah, because those things like what? Not even an hour, 2 hours tops per battery.
Not even 2 hours, like an hour and a half maximum.
Yeah.
That's if like you're turning the camera off after, like when you're not doing anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it was real rough. So I was doing that, but you're just running around. And family weddings are a great way to start. They're very difficult though, because your family won't look at you as someone who's working. They're just going to look at you as, oh, it's my cousin. Oh, it's my nephew.
Yeah.
And they'll try talking to you. And they're like, I can't talk right. I love you. Shut the fuck up. I'm trying to work right now. So, like, my dad totally got it. I was, like, running around like a chicken with my head cut off all day. My mom was trying to talk to me. My dad was like, Paul, just leave him alone. He's busy. So, I was running around all day. And, I undervalued... just 24 I used a lot of slow-mo in my first wedding video just because I'm like, this is how it's going to look good and everything. Mm-hmm. I kind of fell into that trend of like relying on 60 frames and 120 frames to hide my bad handheld work because I didn't have a gimbal at the time. I was like fresh into it, and I didn't really realize how nice something could look in 24 frames if you're just capturing the right moments.
Right.
Like, some stuff can call for slow-mo, no problem. Mm-hmm. Like, now I rarely touch slow-mo unless it's like, if I'm doing a drone shot, like, I'll do that in like 60 frames, no problem. But like, I used to try and do like the walk in slow-mo, like the walk down the aisle and stuff like that. But, it's just so, I found it like depending on the couple and the location, like just 24 frames is fine. Like it looks just as good. And if you're using like a stabilizer, like a Ronin S, a Zyene crane, whatever you have for a stabilizer, it's gonna look good so long as you have it balanced properly and you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing is know your gear, prepare, and if you're doing audio recording, which I highly suggest you do, like just plugging into like the DJ soundboard or just like putting an external recorder just in the area of them, laddering them up. Have so many backups because if you lose audio from a ceremony, that's big.
You can't get that back.
You can't get that back, and then, like that's why I'll always have like my safety camera will always have a mic on it, just because in case anything happens, I have that scratch audio.
Even if it's shit.
Even if it's awful, I'll use it. You can
pay somebody to clean it up.
Yeah, like I have some friends who do like audio post, and I'm like, hey, I'll pay you X amount to clean this.
Yeah.
And they've done it before, and so they're like, sweet, this is worked out. But let's not tell them that there was an issue. But yeah, I'll typically lav up the bride, the groom, and the officiant if I have a third lav. I use the little Tascam DR10Ls. They're great. They make a white one like specifically for brides. So like literally you just get like a thigh thing for them, and then you put it onto that, and then you run it into the dress before they put it on, and then you just get like these little stickies that Rycoat makes, and then you just put it on the inside of like the little breast area there.
Okay.
And then you just stick the mic there, and you don't even notice it because it matches the color of the dress 99% of the time. And then groom mics and officiant mics, just black mics. It's super easy. But typically, like you won't need to do 3 mics because like either the bride and groom will be close enough that you can pick up the bride or groom on each other's mic,
right?
And the officiant would be the only one that I would lav every single time. Whereas like I could if a bride doesn't want a mic in her dress, I'm not going to put a mic in her dress. Like, it's her call, it's her day, totally. And then you just give it to the groom. The groom guys never really give a shit about that. It's like throw it in my breast pocket, run the cable, tie it up. It's good.
Yeah.
And then I have clean audio for most people. And then if they're just speaking to a microphone, that's even easier because if you're on like a podium,
straight in line, bro.
Yeah, in line through like a H4 that I plug into a soundboard, and then for a backup, I'll take one of those black lavs and tape it to the bottom of the mic. and I'll catch it like that. That way I have 2 inputs from there.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah. So audio is a big thing. Just always have a backup for audio. And just get out of your own head a lot, because I found that when I started, I was very nervous about what I was shooting, and I wasn't really like taking time to be like, okay, well, this is going to be an important moment. Like, I was just like, I gotta get this shot. It's gotta look good.
Right.
Whereas if you just catch them, like, it doesn't have to be a beauty shot every single time. Because if you just catch these moments of interaction between, like, the groom and his groomsmen, brides and her bridesmaids, like father and son, father, daughter, mother, daughter, it's going to be beautiful to them.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're looking at it as artists, and it's still art, 100%.
Yeah.
But you also have to think about who this is for.
Yeah.
And another thing is to get to know your couple. Like, I have a wedding booked for October 2020.
It's a ways away.
Yeah, it's a ways away. It's a friend's sister, and I've only met her once. It was back when me and him ran track and field. I only met her the one time. But I'm going to be meeting with them probably sometime in the summer, just like his sister and her fiance, and just like spending like a lunch with them and talking to them, getting to know them, and knowing what's important to them.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you just like nail what they want, they're going to be happy. Because at the end of the day, like, yeah, it's great to have something for your Vimeo or your YouTube or your website, but, you know, they're going to remember you because you gave them what they wanted.
Yeah.
And like, if they know someone who's getting married, like, you're working with young couples, of course, like, they're going to recommend you to someone because some of their friends are probably going to get engaged soon. So if you do a great job for them, that's like its own way of networking. Is just doing right by your client and what they want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yes, story time and like capturing those moments.
Yeah.
Are so more like meaningful than just like the perfect shot. You're not shooting a commercial.
Yeah. No, you're really
Right.
not. Like, if you're working if you're working a wedding show, yeah, you're shooting a commercial. But if
Yeah.
like you're doing a wedding, just make it the story of them, and
Yeah.
they'll love it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll record all the speeches. I'll take bits and pieces of speech audio. I'll overlay it over the top of the entire video just to get like a story going and
Right.
build it like that, and they love it. Like,
Oh yeah.
you just gotta catch those moments where you don't think, or they don't think that anyone's watching them, kind of thing. Where, like, you know, maybe they're nervous, or like they're smiling like stupidly to themselves just because they're like happy, like that kind of. They love that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And like, you know, I remember I was shooting something, and it was just from like a portrait session the photographer was doing. I just went with them and just caught a few things, and then they're like, "Could we see what you just got there?" And I like showed it to them, and they were like, it wasn't even anything like mind-blowingly great. It was just them just being cute with each other, and they were like blown away. They're like, "This looks amazing, thank you so much." Like, just that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people realize how much couples appreciate what we do for them. Because obviously there are those bridezillas and like asshole grooms that will just be dicks, but like, more often than not, you're not getting those people.
Yeah.
Because you know, those people don't want to pay a lot of money for weddings.
Yeah.
Whereas like the nice people will be like, I totally understand where you're coming from. I understand why this costs so much. You're gonna work with great people, and you're gonna work with your bad people, but you just gotta always try and give the same product to, not the same product, but like the same kind of quality, regardless of how they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, she could be a total monster during the day and treating everyone badly, which is rare. But, you know, you're still going to try and make them look as amazing as possible, because that's your product. That's your quality that you're giving out. And even if they were like a nightmare to deal with on the day, typically when they see their video, they're like usually pretty happy. I don't think I've maybe heard one story from a friend of mine that was like, she was like, they weren't happy with it, and I was like, yeah, your track record shows that like you do great work though, so don't even worry about it. Like, that's 1 out of 20 you've done.
Yeah.
So
It'll happen.
oh, so you can cross stuff. Yeah.
No, so I can write down the time marks
Oh, that makes
for
sense.
Instagram. So if there's key moments, I just
Right.
write down the timestamp on it, so that I have it, so it's easier for editing.
Fair enough.
All right.
And I can
Back
cross-
into weddings.
Back into weddings.
We were saying. Fuck.
We're talking about like clients and just like, as long as you're giving them
Yeah, tips.
tips. So yeah, your audio, know your gear, and do a prep night. Prep the night before or 2 days before, whatever you have time. Just make sure everything's working fine. I had a nightmare situation where I was second shooting for this guy from Toronto. I picked up a second battery for my A7 III because it was my first wedding I was doing with my A7 III. So I was like, I need a second battery for this. And sure enough, I bought it from Henry's, and I don't recommend buying. I don't know if it's changed, but the batteries they have on stock there. I bought it, and it would short out my camera, and I lost footage. So I'm catching, like, it's me, the main shooter, and like his photographer, and they're just doing their thing, and I'm supposed to be catching them coming down the aisle, and I get that message as I'm coming down the aisle with this couple, and I lost it, and I had to be the one to like tell the guy. I was like, look, this is what happened, and I felt like shit. So test all your gear, make sure all your batteries are working properly, make sure all the batteries are working properly.
Make sure they're charged.
Yeah, make sure they're charged. Make sure your mic is charged if you use a mic that takes internal power. Batteries everywhere. Like if you're using an H4, any of that, have extra batteries. Like I can't stress. Write it off. Like it's so extra. Worth it. It's like, I don't want to go and buy batteries. Buy the batteries. Like you're gonna need them.
100%.
And if you're like, I don't use them. You'll use them that one time, and you'll be thankful you have a lot of extra stuff.
I got a funny story. My buddy messaged me the other day. Yo, you know where I can get any Canon batteries or how to recharge them in my car? Or do you have any that you could sell me? I'm like, I kind of need all my batteries, but I don't know if he had to shoot that day.
Oof.
Or if he had one the next day or something like that. But yeah, he was messaging me. I think he was a bit stressed out.
Oh yeah, I've been there before.
Because he only had one battery. I'm like, dude, you've been shooting for like a year, man. Get another battery.
You never have one. Always have double everything.
Yeah.
Even when you're shooting, like you said, audio, always have double.
Yeah.
Double audio, double footage, or double SD card if you can.
Yeah.
If you can, you can. But like at least
double SD card's so good. It's saved my ass so many times before. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
But always have a backup, even if it's just a camera on a tripod, just rolling super wide. As long as you have a backup.
Yeah.
That you can always go to.
And like, sure, you might not have like a second camera. Like, that's why I highly recommend like, maybe your first few weddings you're not going to be getting paid enough to have a second shooter, unless it's a close friend of yours who doesn't mind helping you with their camera. But once you get to a certain level, have a second shooter because it helps so goddamn much.
You can't cover too much.
No, and I've done 4 weddings solo. And those are stressful. I have a whole like story on my Instagram. If you watch
that story.
It's like tips for how to shoot a solo wedding video, and I Instagram storied myself the whole day. I think it's like a 6-minute long story or something like that. It's long, but that video turned out okay. I shot that for Cooper Street Productions. That actually the guy who was like Matt West, who was the director at Gusto when I did my internship, owns that now. So it was like this post on the Ottawa Filmmakers group from his wife or girlfriend at the time, I can't remember, being like, we need a shooter for a wedding, please contact us. Someone commented my name, and then I emailed her, and she was like, yeah, sure, like, can you do this day? I was like, perfect. And she's like, yeah, my partner Matt West. I'm like, I think I know Matt West. And she was like, did you work at Gusto? I was like, I interned at Gusto. And she was like, then you know Matt West. And I was like, oh, okay. It's a work for them. That turned out to be a lot of fun. And they were nice enough to let me make a cut, like my own cut of the footage for my own personal use. So I could I'd have footage to advertise with.
Right.
And also, guys, your first wedding might also just be a second shooting job. And that's totally fine.
It's almost like the smarter thing to do.
You can shoot, stay back a bit, and then see what the other guy does.
Exactly.
And you don't really have to worry about as much.
Yeah, you don't have to edit it or anything, but you can just pick and choose what you like from that person's style, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little if it's your first one, you're gonna be a little bit nervous because you have to now impress the guy who hired you.
Yeah.
But typically a lot of people I've worked with as a second shooter, they've just given me a list of stuff they want. They've told me like, hey, go check out these videos of mine. This is the kind of style I like to shoot. And like, do your research on who hires you. And then you'll know kind of what to look for on the day that they would like.
Right.
And then it's stress-free after the day is done because you just hand the footage off and that's it. Then you see the finished product that they come up with, and you get to kind of see where they use your shots, what they liked. Yeah. And that's always kind of fun for me. But, you know, as a second shooter, research who hired you, see what kind of style they shoot in, try and do your best to catch stuff that you think they would use, while still catching the important moments.
Yeah.
Like, don't just shoot to please them, shoot to please yourself a little bit too. Kind of find that nice balance. And then try not to worry as much. I find, like, for me personally, I was just so nervous my first 2 weddings. And then it kind of just slowly became easier as time went on. I started to get less worried. Like, after the ceremony's done, everything up to the ceremony is so stressful. Then once you get through the ceremony and you know it went off without a hitch, you're like you're cruising.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, portrait session, sick, beauty shots, great. Okay, speeches, 1 camera here, 1 camera there, wide and tight. It's great. And then you're just kind of chilling. Like everything after that is just super non-stress.
Yeah.
You just gotta make it through the ceremony. That's the if I could. It's like I'm like the hardest part of the day is like the 40 minutes that you do a ceremony. So just get through that, and you're gonna be okay.
Yeah, that's stressful as shit.
Yeah.
Audio, video, batteries, everything.
Yeah, that's when like reload, and if like your card's close to being reload the card. Like I got a 256 gigabyte card just so I wouldn't have to reload my card to it, because I will never come close to 256 for a wedding shoot. Like it's unless they have like a.
Not if you're shooting Sony.
No, like unless there's like I'm doing 4K for an hour, like But even then, I still have to restart the camera. I hate that record time limit. I hate it so much.
Oh, same.
And like as long as you, I forget where I was going with this.
Memory space.
Memory space. As long as you're not doing an hour-long ceremony in 4K, you should be okay for most cards.
Yeah.
I just wanted the 256 so I could have like a big redundant, because the Sony a7 III has the 2 card slots and one's a UHS 2.
There you go.
And that's great. That's such a fast card. Like when I'm shooting photography with that memory card, I go in burst mode and I have to catch stuff really. I never outrun that buffer. It's great. That's so good. Yeah. So my tips: if you're second shooting, research who hired you, find a balance between your style and their style, and just kind of relax. Like once you're through the ceremony, you're good. And then if you are solo shooting or hiring a second shooter and it's your personal like contract, pick a second shooter who you trust, or who you've seen has done good work or has been recommended to you. Make sure all of your stuff's good to go. Like do a prep night, check all your stuff, batteries, audio. Make sure everything's working properly, because there's nothing more embarrassing than showing up and something's not working properly.
Yeah. Color profiles,
yeah, that's a big one. I tend actually to not shoot my ceremony in a flat profile, because just in case, like I don't use a whole lot of the ceremony in the video. Okay. It's maybe like 20, 30 seconds tops. Okay. Whereas like I can tweak it to make it look good enough, but the most of the story is coming from before the ceremony, the portrait session, like because the audio is what's driving the story in most wedding videos. Yeah. So as long as you have appropriate like clips to match up, like yes, throw ceremony stuff in there 100%, but in the case they want, like when they want their raw stuff, I don't want to give them like, here's S-Log 2.
Yeah, super flat.
Super flat. So I'll record in like a prettier color profile that I might have made, or I might even just throw like a color LUT onto it and then tweak it from there just to like save myself some time.
Right.
But everything else I'll do in log, just so I have the flexibility. Yeah. S-Log is one of those things it's risky to do unless you know how to do it perfectly. Because if you They say to expose S-Log2 a little bit to the right, just so you can have some clean video. And if you mess around, you underexpose or overexpose too much, it becomes really noisy. So you're walking a tightrope when you do S-Log2. So I recommend one of the Cine profiles, like Cine 2 or Cine 1 on the Sony cameras are great profiles. They're not super flat, but they're not super saturated either. And you can tweak those pretty well. So those are great to use. And then I'm not a big advocate of buying people's LUTs or color profiles unless they're actually LUTs. Because like some of these people on like YouTube will sell LUTs, but they're really just presets. Like they're almost just making a Lightroom preset for Premiere and just being like, here you go. Whereas a LUT is supposed to change the color space like a little bit. Like one of the DPs that I've worked with, he gave me a LUT that changes S-Log2 to more of a airy C-Log profile. So it'll get the color space looking more like an airy log. And then when you start grading it, it's going to look more like airy colors. It's not going to be perfect one-to-one airy recreation because obviously you're not shooting 444 or any of that, but it'll give you the look of an airy kind of, but not 100%. It's just like something to change it, and you still have to do a lot of the work. Whereas like a lot of people who put out these LUTs on YouTube are like, oh, buy my LUTs, and then it's like, oh, I put this on my adjustment layer, and it's like completely like, even if I tweak it down like 20%, it's like completely blown out kind of thing, or like it doesn't match my footage, like yeah. So find something that works for you, and the best way you can do that is just kind of go out and shoot. So if you want to be safe, shoot your ceremonies in just a regular picture profile that has color. I also recommend, personally, take out all in-camera sharpening and then add it back in post, because in-camera sharpening can look really bad. I think I have my in-camera sharpening at like 1 out of like, I forget what it goes up to on my Sony, but like I just took it all the way down because I just found like it looks a little artifacty if you
big time. Like, if you have to slow it down,
if you slow it down, you get some really bad artifacts in your footage if you're using the in-camera sharpening. So I recommend turning that all the way down and then adding it in post, because it's going to look a lot better if you put it in the post than in the camera. It's the one time I'll say fix it in post. It's the only time I'm ever going to say fix it in post. Other than that, get it right on set. Yeah, so just be aware of what you have to do and like cater to the client a lot, because again, your art's important, but it's not as important as this once in a lifetime thing for these people.
Well, you hope once in a lifetime.
Yeah, you hope once in a lifetime. Like, yes, it's important to have like this passion for what we do, but don't let it interfere with giving your clients something that they're going to remember forever.
Oh yeah, because at the end of the day, it's a service.
It is 100%. We're in a service industry when you're doing client stuff.
Yeah, and don't get it wrong, because like, cool, it might look awesome, but it's
not what they wanted.
It's not raw. It's not the emotions they want, or whatever style
it's
they
like,
want.
Let me throw some epidemic sound beats over this. Let me just get the drone shot up, and then we're good. Like tell the story that they want, and like try and showcase who they are.
Yeah.
And they're going to be seeing themselves from a third party perspective for the first time. Like 90% of people who get wedding videos done have never been on camera. They've never been in our kind of space where all three of us are used to being on camera. We're used to talking into microphones. We're used to this. But the moment someone sees themselves like on a camera or hears themselves back, like, oh, that's weird. So if you can just make them like see themselves in a really nice way, they're gonna love it.
Yeah. What was shooting your first wedding like?
It was for my aunt. I did it for about $1,000, which great money to start with, actually, because sometimes your first wedding is like, I'm gonna do this for like $500 or $400.
Yeah.
So I shot it with the A7S II, like I mentioned, 2 batteries, a microphone, tripod. It was running around like, because I had just watched like a bunch of people like do instructional YouTube videos on how to do it, and like I knew essentially what I had to get, but I was just so nervous the entire time. I was overshooting everything. It took me like 3 weeks to edit it, just because like I had so much.
Yeah.
So I rented the A7S2 with a G Master 24-70 lens for the weekend, because Viztech has great rentals for like the weekend pricing is great. Oh, I love it. So I shot it on that. The 24-70 was a great lens just for all around what I needed. It was a 2.8, which at night got difficult, but the A7S2 was okay in the low light, as we all know. So, you know, I was able to get a lot of what I needed, but I overshot a lot because I was scared. And then I had to deal with family members trying to like pull me away from what I was doing, which was also frustrating. Like, it was frustrating. It was hard to tell my family, like, Kate, you like fuck off. And like they eventually got it towards like after dinner. I was like, guys, I'm working. Just please, just give me space to like do what I have to do. Like this is great for me to be here. I'm happy for Aunt Jen, but I just gotta get this so I can give them something. And I finished it, and you know, when you do stuff for family, it's like, oh, can you add this? Can you add this? Can you add this? And it's like, it's brutal because they're your family, and you can't be like, hey, more money. Or like at a certain point, you can say, hey, more money. Like if it becomes unreasonable, like, but you know, it's like, okay, I gotta do this, and then you make what makes them happy, and then you give it to them. And sometimes they like handicap you. Like I shot my uncle's wedding last summer in Banff, which was great, beautiful. I was very upset though because he had a beautiful reception at Banff Springs Hotel, but the fires in BC had blown smoke all the way into Alberta. So like we're looking into this canyon like with two mountains on either side, and that's like the back view, but it's so covered in smoke that you can't see it, and you're like, fuck. But like it looked hazy and cool, but like it didn't look hazy where we were. It was just like
too much.
Yeah, the second you look farther away, like, oh, it's covered in smoke.
More haze?
Yeah.
Oh, I have so much stories.
Can we get more haze? No? Alright.
Oh man. Yeah, I hazed this guy's house.
Oh no.
The alarm kind of went on a couple times.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oops. Boss comes out, he's like, what are you doing hotboxing this basement? I'm like, it kind of looks like it now.
Something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, so I did that video, but I wanted to mic up my uncle or the officiant, and they just said no. And I was like, I mean, you're not going to have any like good audio from like your ceremony and stuff. They're like, just use the on-camera mic, that's fine. And I was like,
what?
It was super, yeah. Wow. Not my shooting style at all, and I actually don't use that video when I promote myself. But again, it's one of those things where like, it's nice to have a piece to promote yourself, but just, you know, make your client happy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've had...
second camera, Rode mic it as close as you can to
exactly.
everything.
Just like...
this is just getting audio.
Yeah, it was back when I just bought my A7 III, so I still had my A7S at the time, so I was able to have the 2-camera setup. But, yeah, it's... You gotta do what you gotta do sometimes, and... oh, God, the first one was so stressful. Yeah. I don't think back to it. Yeah, it's changed a lot now. I'm a lot more relaxed during the day, because I know what I'm going for. I know the kind of look I want. So, first wedding, stressful for everybody. It's not just you. Don't worry about it. Just get through the ceremony. That's my biggest thing, and then you can kind of just relax a little bit. If you have a second shooter, if you're a single shooter, it's still like go. Yeah. But just also take time to eat. Like eat, please, because I was really lightheaded on my first wedding because I was so nervous about missing something that I would just like have a few bites, get up, and just like start walking around like trying to like catch something, and I was like getting real lightheaded by the end of the night. So I had like the server just leave my stuff on the plate on like the table, and I was like, I'm gonna come back to this after the speeches are done. But like take your time to eat. Make sure your camera's set up to where the speeches are gonna be. Like just point in that direction, and like ask the DJ and the MC what the schedule's like, because they'll tell you 100%. They'll be like, okay, we're going to bring up Uncle Jimbo at like after the salad is served, and he's going to talk, and then we're going to bring up the main course, and then bring up like the father, and they'll tell you what the plan is, and then you can kind of gauge how much time you're going to have to, you know, sustain yourself.
Yeah.
And also, sometimes you'll be getting ready in one place and then driving to the venue. Sometimes the venue is already at the place where where you're getting ready. But if you have a place where you can drive to, bring a snack in your car and just eat it on the way.
Yeah,
just to hold you over.
Always, man. Always have snacks and water.
Have a snack in your car. Have a bottle of water. Like, just keep yourself going. Because I've had it where I didn't eat breakfast in the morning, gone to shoot a wedding, and they didn't have dinner until like 8 p.m. and I started at 11 a.m. And I was just like,
you're dying. You're like out of breath, just like dizzy, like trying to shoot. You're like, no.
Dude, I haven't eaten at all today yet, so.
Neither have I, actually. That's why I picked up this sugary drink. It's giving me something.
I'm working on this whole fasting thing going on.
Really? Yeah. Cool. I can say it's working great. But yeah, weddings are a lot of fun. I recommend, like, even if you don't want to do weddings for like the rest of your life, just try it once, because you'll either have a great time or a bad time, but you'll learn something from it. 100%. I learned a lot of time management skills from doing weddings, because like you're on a tight schedule that whole day, so you got to really prioritize what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So what gear do you normally bring to weddings?
To a wedding, I'll bring my acef .3, Rode Video Mic Pro Plus. I'll bring 2 Tascam DR10Ls, one white, one black. I'll bring my Sigma Art 35 1.4. It's not like a macro, but it has like some pretty close focusing, so I can use it for really nice detail shots.
Okay.
I use my Tamron 28 to 75. It's a weird focal length.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah, I think they did it so that the lens wouldn't be massive. Because the second you go 24, the glass has to get a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So that's why I went 28-75. So yeah, they made up for it on the top end. I'll bring that lens. I won't really bring my 50mm anymore, just because I don't need it. My 35 is good enough. And the nice thing about the Sony is the APS-C mode that you can use in the A7 III in 4K is it's just oversampled 6K and then downscaled to 4K like once it's converted. So when you do the APS-C mode, you get this extra 1.5 times crop with no loss of resolution. You're not getting any pixel binning or anything like that. So it's a poor man's zoom lens.
Yep.
It's like real quick and dirty. Just if you need to get something. Like if I'm on my 35 and I don't have time to change lenses, sweet, I'm hitting APS-C mode and I'm on like a 50-something equivalent now. So it's pretty handy like that. So I'll bring those 2 lenses. Depending on what the venue's like, I'll usually ask what the venue is and to see it beforehand. I'll rent a 24 to 70 for the day, the G Master 2.8, just because I need it.
It's reliable. It's
reliable. Or if I'm second shooting with someone, I'll throw on my E mount to EF mount adapter and throw on their 24 to 70 or 135 even.
Right.
But that means I have to be at my camera the whole time, whereas sometimes I can walk away from one camera, go check the other one kind of thing. But if you're second shooting, bring a lens adapter if you know they're using a different system than you. Like I stumbled across the Visualex ND throttle, which isn't the highest quality ND adapter, but for weddings it's quick and dirty and gets the job done. And it's nice if you're using the other person's lens, because you don't really have to worry about throwing a filter on top of it, because the filter's at the back. Which in film you never do. Like on film sets you never put ND. Like there's a specific order that you put filters in. If you have a matte box, you go ND and then color. So like let's say you have like a magenta filter to take out some of the greens kind of thing. You go ND, color, and then whatever, like a pro mist or whatever in the third slot. There's like a specific order you have to do stuff just so transmission of light stays consistent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's like a whole thing about it. But the ND throttle, it's just like it's quick, it's dirty. Sure, it might like the color wouldn't be as accurate compared to without it.
Right.
But that's like most ND filters these days, anyways.
Yeah, green or magenta.
Yeah, green or magenta. What are you taking out? What are you putting in?
Yeah.
Post.
Yeah, exactly. So we're shooting log, everybody. So, yeah, I'll bring those. bring a neck strap in case I want to just dirty handheld quickly, because I'll tighten it around my neck and put it out like this. Trick Peter McKinnon showed me, and I like Peter McKinnon stuff. Some of his stuff I don't like. I mean, we're all subjective in this field.
Yeah.
But that's actually a really useful tip. The third point of contact on your neck with the strap. I've used that before, and it's like gotten me in and out of like tight spaces.
Especially those light DSLRs, man.
Oof,
Yeah.
I got caught off guard at a wedding once. They started running ahead of schedule and like didn't tell me, so they were like, father-daughter dance starting right now, and I didn't have it on my gimbal because like they were supposed to tell me when they were going to bring them up to do that dance, and then they're just like, we'd like to invite the bride and the father to the dance floor for the father-daughter dance. I was like, I like grabbed my camera off the tripod, threw my strap on it, and then had to go 24 frames, but I was like ninja walking the entire time with the strap. It looked okay. Like it. Now when I do my own stuff, I like the handheld motion quite a bit, but not like all over the place.
No.
So that saved me in a really tight spot. So like after I finished that, I was like flexing my whole like upper body just to try and stay as stable as possible, because like I'm sure I'm on a heavy lens, the 24-70, but it's like it's still not that heavy of a setup. Like the heavier your setup, the more stable your shot's going to be.
Exactly.
But
I know people that attach weight on the bottom.
Oh yeah, I've seen that too. It makes sense. Like it's if you don't have a cage or a rig, like you just
big time.
Get really good at holding your stuff, like keeping it close to your body, but also still having the third point of contact. It's the further you are out, the less stable it's going to be. So I would tighten it as much as I could, and then keep it as close as I could while keeping pressure back here. That way I could be as stable as possible and just rely on the upper half of my body to get the job done. What else do I bring? Bring my Ronin S. I don't use it as much as I used to. I like to use monopod as of recently, because it gives me a stable look with a handheld feel.
Yeah, that's true,
And depending on the location, I'll bring my drone, my Phantom 4. Okay. I did get the license to fly it, so I'm okay. No one come after me. So I got the license to fly that, and I'm trying to get a smaller drone just because the Phantom 4 is a pain in the ass to bring around. Like I like the image out of it. I just it's so annoying. It's massive. I can't travel with it, which is another pain in the ass.
That's true.
Like when I went to Japan, I wanted to bring my drone with me, but I didn't have a Mavic. My buddy wouldn't let me use his in Japan. He's like, if something happens in Japan, like
you're fucked.
It's the Dunyon rings. It's gone.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, fine. I'm not bringing the drone to Japan.
No. Fair.
So that's pretty much what I bring on a day to day. I'll bring like spare batteries, obviously, memory cards, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Just like pretty much everything I would use, I bring.
Okay.
And it's chargers, spare mic, H4n to plug into a DJ board. The cables, like I use like an XLR to 5.1 inch jack. Like it's
the studio.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So like now that you have like a license for your drone, do you have to do like a written setup every single time you're going to use it, like a
not with the basic operations license, because you have the rules with the basic operations license. You can't fly within 5.6K of an airport, 3.2 of a heliport, and 100 feet horizontally between people and buildings. And depending on where you are, the buildings one is the issue. The people one is 100%. If they catch you, you're fucked. Like when the Raptors won last year, there was a guy who got that drone photo of the parade in Toronto. Transport Canada found him and fined him like $6,000.
Holy.
Yeah, there was a GoFundMe though. And he got it paid off in like a day.
There you go.
But
that sucks.
They're pretty serious about it, just because people were doing dumb shit with their drones when they first became accessible to public and stuff like that.
Wait, so you can't fly within 100 feet of people?
Horizontally, yeah. So like they literally measure it horizontally. Like it's public
so
events.
Like bad then.
Yeah, like public events are a no-go 100%.
Oh yeah.
For even if you have the advanced operations license, you can't do public events unless
Can't
you
just flying above them.
No, because
Not-
if it crashes up there or it's out of battery,
Yeah,
you're
but
fucked.
Technically, horizontally, you're not like.
No,
it's-
if it crashes down, you're fucked.
Yeah, if it lands down, you're done. Like
Yeah.
a drone falling from 50 meters and hitting someone, like if it hits them in the head, they're fucked.
You're getting sued like a bitch.
Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
No,
like
it's not smart.
so I'll fly away from people. I've used it on like small couple shoots before.
Yeah, seriously, how do you do it for weddings then?
It depends on the location. Like I'll ask the location beforehand. I'll research are there heliports? Do we have airports?
Okay.
Typically, if I use the drone, it's just as an establishing shot, so there's not
Right.
people around, or I'll try to make sure there's no one around. There have been times where I've had to tell people like, "Hey, I'm gonna be flying. Can you stand like X amount of feet back, that like behind me, just so I can fly it?" And usually people are pretty understanding. So I've done that. And then I've used a drone to get shots of a couple before, and that was like with their permission, they were okay with it.
Yeah.
I was like, "Are you okay if I fly this like
Yeah.
close to you guys, over top of you?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's fine." And like, I figured we were far enough away from other people. Like, there's no other people there besides me, the couple, and like the other videographer and the photographer. And they were off to the side, and everyone was kind of consenting with what was going on. But there's no other people within like
Right.
a good distance of us. So I figured if a cop like came and was like, "You can't be doing that," they're like, "No, we're fine with it."
Yeah.
I mean, they probably would still try and nail me for something, but
Right.
that's just one of those cases where like it worked out to be that way. But typically, I used to use drone for establishing shots. I rarely use it to get like actual people stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
But now the cool thing is with that Mavic Mini, it weighs under 250 grams, so the laws don't apply to it. Because the laws only apply to drones that weigh over 250 grams, and they made that thing be 249. So
But how long does it last? 2 minutes?
no, it lasts like pretty long from from the reviews I've been
Okay.
watching. It's comparable to like a regular Mavic.
Okay.
I mean,
what's
it's
it
not-
shoot though?
2.7K
Okay. That's
at
not
110 megabits per second.
Okay.
So it's not like a crazy bit depth or anything, but
bad.
it's
How many
good.
frames?
I think it's only up to 30 and 2.7.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if you're smooth enough with your drone,
Yeah,
like you
no,
don't really
yeah.
need 60 frames on it. I mean, like slow-mo drone stuff, I'm not a big fan of,
Yeah, that's fair.
just because typically the bit rate that they record in isn't high enough to not get artifacting.
Yeah.
But you know, that's perfect for someone who wants to fly a drone recreationally.
Yeah.
And just get stuff done. I mean, at a professional level, that doesn't fly like that kind of drone.
Yeah.
Just because you need 10-bit color, you need like log, you need all this kind of stuff. Whereas the Mavic Mini can just give you nice images out of its camera,
Mhm.
and not have to have you get 1,000,001 licenses to fly it and permissions and SFOCs. So it's great, honestly. I've been thinking about picking one up just for travel, honestly, because
Yeah, that's true. That's
you know,
so
once you throw stuff onto YouTube, the compression hits it so much that unless you're like even up-resing it to 4K, the 4K compression on YouTube still is a lot. So you're not gonna be seeing a huge difference.
No.
And here's a fun fact: most people cannot tell the difference between 1080 and 4K. It is shocking.
Yeah.
Like if you put 4K on a 1080 monitor, you wouldn't be able to tell that you're looking at like it's not many people have 4K monitors anyways.
Exactly.
And then regular broadcast TV is never broadcast in 4K. There's no such thing as a 4K broadcast unless you're watching. I think there's like one thing that's broadcast in 4K. It's not even the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is still 1080. Yeah, it's unreal
So what is the point in 4K TVs then?
for Blu-rays.
Uh,
Yeah, Blu-rays and other ways of streaming.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
Then you just gotta love 4K so you can zoom in.
yeah,
if you need to.
yeah. 4K is great for us because we can fix stuff
Love
in
it.
post.
Love it.
But for
For
drones,
you
my next purchase, I'm going to sell my Phantom, and either get a Mavic 2 Pro or a Mavic Mini, or maybe both. It depends on what finance situation's like when I'm looking at it. But I've been actually thinking about trying to go to NAB this year in Vegas, National Association of Broadcasters. It's like Profusion that you guys went to in Toronto, but it's massive. It's in Las Vegas. Pretty much all the same people that you saw at Profusion will be there, but it's when they announce new tech. Like there's there's seminars, all this stuff. I don't know how I get I gotta look into how I get tickets, but it's
like
massive.
Kino.
Yeah. It's like that. But it's like the biggest like gathering of like broadcast tech companies and stuff. It's in April.
I think they'll release the 1D Mark III then?
I don't know.
Are you gonna buy it?
Are you gonna buy the 1D Mark III? You're gonna make the switch to mirrorless.
See, I want an A7 III.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's so much lighter than having the 5D Mark IV and like shoots 120 if I need it.
Yeah.
I know the coloring's better.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to go with the A7 III, but then it's like, do I want to go Blackmagic instead?
See, I'm at this point where I'm buying a Blackmagic Pocket 4K because I'm doing a lot more personal cinematography stuff, and the A7 III is great, but it's not a cinematographer's camera, it's a videographer's camera.
Yeah.
And people don't get that there is a difference between cinematography and videography at a certain level. Because when you're doing a short film, like, you need certain things. Like, short film, yeah, you can shoot it on, like, your Sony, no problem, and your 5D. Like, it works great, like, for short stuff. But when you start doing, like, features, like, your first independent feature that, you know, that maybe have a budget of, like, 10K or 20K, and, like, they're paying you, you want something that records in a higher bit depth, a color depth, has more flexibility in post, and like Blackmagic just has great exposure tools on their camera, and it's such a nice image of that camera.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, if you set up the same shots, you'd probably be able to tell which one's the Blackmagic and which one's the Sony.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's
you compare the red and Blackmagic, and it's
if they're comparable.
If you know your color, like how to color it, they're comparable. It's not a red, obviously. It's not a red, but it can.
I've worked with both, and they're really hard to distinguish if things are made properly and colored properly. Like, you're looking at it, you're like trying to see, like, the way you'll tell the difference between the red and the Blackmagic is the dynamic range.
Oh,
that's the only way you're going to be able to tell the difference, is if you're looking at a scene that has high contrast between highlights and shadows.
Like, faces look so much better on a red.
Yeah, faces look great on a red if you're doing like outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Blackmagic's 13 stops dynamic range or something like that.
Yeah.
And like the red is anywhere from 15. I think it's like 15, 16, something like that. So my first thing to go to if I'm looking at like comparison videos is the dynamic range. So that's how you'll mostly tell. But color science, they're pretty similar. Like, the colors look good out of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love Blackmagic, like, because they have dual ISO, dual native ISO, so I can shoot.
That's huge.
It's insane. So, because usually a red you shoot 800 because the color's the best at 800.
Yeah.
And that's what you shoot at. But Blackmagic, you can shoot at 400 native or 32 native.
Yeah.
Nobody would ever push a camera to 32.
No, unless you're shooting like an A7S series camera.
Yeah, or like the red, the
Gemini
one.
So the Gemini here, I worked with the Gemini, and so it's not that you can push it. There's a specific mode you turn on after 3200. So you'll enter low light mode, and then you have access from 3200 onward in your ISO, and it's basically dual native almost, but it does something different with its processing once you turn on the low light mode. That it cleans up the noise so it looks great.
Insane.
It's a really interesting camera to like work with and see. I remember it was like we were doing like lens testing with it and trying to figure out what lenses we were going to use for this movie, and then we tried the low light mode just because the camera was new to us. We were like, shits and giggles, let's turn it on.
Oh yeah.
And it was just, we're like, oh, this is a lot better than we thought it was going to be. We thought it was just some kind of gimmick, because you know sometimes
Yeah.
cameras throwing like these gimmick things.
Yeah.
But no, it worked really, really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah. Just if when you get a Blackmagic, watch out for ISO.
Yeah.
Because that 1,000 to 1250 is completely different.
Yeah, it's totally different.
Because the 1250 to 32 and up, that is like the dual native. It's like the second native.
Yeah.
And then there's the first one. So I don't know if it's your highlights or your darks. They clip a shitload.
Yeah.
When you're at 32.
I was watching a video on that.
It's insane because when we shot the one together for T.
Oh yeah.
That one. That's what happened when we shot in the gym. I pushed it to 3250. 1250, and there's grain. I was like, shit.
Yeah.
But
It's really easy to clip your highlights and blacks.
yeah, like your highlights are just gone, like by a shitload.
Yeah.
Which sucks. But
So yeah, that's pretty much either way I want to go. It all depends. Like then again, I don't really know where I want to take things right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And the only thing is, I don't think the Blackmagic doesn't fit on the Ronin M.
I've seen it.
You have?
There's a cheese plate, like a relocation plate you can get that'll help you mount it properly. I saw a video where someone did it. It was like this Indian wedding videographer. It was like I have 2 pocket 4Ks and 1 pocket 6K for my cameras, and one of the pocket 4Ks was on a Ronin M.
yeah, you just gotta take the cage off and like.
Yeah,
even with the cage off, it was tight. With the S, it fits on the S.
It fits on the S, yeah.
It's
the
tight
MX,
still.
You gotta get the MX to do it then.
Yeah.
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 It's doable. You just
Yeah. Then again, whenever. Yeah.
It all depends what you're filming. If it's run and
No,
go
100%.
and it's all about stabilization, then obviously you get a Sony. If that's your crazy concern and it's just run and go and it's just small, easy to carry around.
Yeah.
But the thing with doing the Blackmagic stuff on a gimbal is now you need a follow focus.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
Or you have to be really good at maintaining your distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it turns into like how good are you at pulling focus while also walking?
Well, my buddy, he'll run the A7 III, but he'll run it on manual.
Oh, really?
And he holds it with one hand and like focuses.
Ronin S though.
No. He runs that on the M, dude.
Oh, so he has the follow focus, the nucleus connected, and then he has it on the actual. Yeah, no way you can hold it.
I'm pretty sure before. I don't know if he does now, but I'm pretty sure before he used to hold it one-handed and run it focus. I'm pretty sure.
That's impressive.
That's heavy. Holy shit.
That's a lot for one arm.
From what I remember,
Yeah.
unless I didn't understand what he was saying properly, I'm pretty sure that's how he used to do it.
Because I was thinking you have the nucleus follow focus system on the actual lens, and you have the wireless remote onto one of the handles, and then you just go like that, which is what a lot of people use.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know that's what Santi does.
Yeah, because we didn't have I was there, but we didn't have an extra monitor for me to be in a section just doing a follow focus. I had to run beside him and attach 2 monitors onto the Ronin, and he's like, "Nah, I'm going to die." I'm like, "Yeah, let's just not do it yourself, bro."
Yeah, it's I don't like the Nucleus Nano just because there's a big lag in its focusing.
Okay.
The only Nucleus the Nucleus M is the only one I'd get. If I was gonna get a Nucleus one. But that thing gets really stiff in the cold. Is something that a lot of people don't tell you, is that when you're outside filming in the cold weather here, it gets real stiff. It's like someone cranked up the sensitivity to low, and it's just you're fighting with it almost. So when I first started on like these film sets, they were using a Nucleus M as their follow focus, and it was like cold as hell out, and they were just like fighting with it. Like the first AC was just losing it, but he made it work. But he was like, this thing is awful for the cold.
Wait, when was that?
November of last year.
Was the guy like Chilean?
No, he was Egyptian.
Okay.
Wait, what's the guy that you're talking about?
Santiago.
I know who Santiago is.
Yeah.
I've met Santiago.
Yeah, that's the guy I work with.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know who he is.
So he was doing the follow focus, and it would keep coming off the lens.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Okay, guys, restart the shoot. I gotta
readjust focus. Yeah. Yeah. No, I've met Santiago. If it's the same Santiago I'm thinking of, yeah.
He's he's known for his light. His lighting is insane.
Okay.
But he doesn't do lighting for. He's usually just DP or AC or whatnot.
Yeah. Well, DP is light.
Yeah,
film.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I met him. I think it was in July. He was doing a movie. I was supposed to be on it, but I ended up not taking the job. But I was helping the DP with the Reds at the time.
Okay. Yeah.
And he ended up being the first AC for the DP.
Okay.
That's how I met him for the first time.
Sweet.
Yeah. Nice guy.
Oh yeah, because he did this one. Yeah, I think it might have been the one in July. It was like a 12-day or 24-day like crazy set.
Yeah, it was probably that one then. So yeah, Henry Baker was 14 days, something like that.
Yeah,
days?
yeah. It was insane.
Yeah.
Great
Nice guy.
experience, but
Yeah.
What's your craziest experience on set so far?
Are we talking crazy as in like dealing with people? Crazy as in like what happened, or
Kind of like craziest thing that happened. It can be like dealing with people or like
shit hit the floor.
someone
like,
broke a
nothing was
red.
working.
Like
there was one time. So we're
instantly knows it.
No. It wasn't like a camera issue. It was like, you ever have something bad happen in front of you and it's just really awkward for everybody, so you say something to try and break the silence, and it just ends up being worse because you can't deal with awkward situations. This was me on my third movie. So we were filming in Almont at this old like textile museum, and there were these big, like we're in this big warehouse thing, and over top they had these like, it almost looks like a projector thing that's hanging off the wall there. Basically that, I think it was just for old, like if they had to hang fabrics up and stuff like that. Yeah. It was big sheets. Anyway, so it was set up for a Christmas movie, and sure enough, like we just cleared the talent out of the space because we were adjusting something. One of those things, like one of those like beams, fell from the ceiling and smashed onto like the set and like broke a bunch of shit. Everyone was quiet, and I'm like, Jenga. And then like everyone looked at me, and I'm like,
This guy's mental.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that was probably like the most like Jesus moment on set.
damn.
Yeah. That was
man. And was that your crew that hooked it up, or was it just?
no, that was just there from the museum.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and then I broke a bunch of art department stuff, and like, yeah.
Because I was like, there's no safety pins, like.
No. It was just like
because it's
old
not,
old ass museum, right?
True shit.
It just like out of nowhere, like we were like, all right, fly in to fix this thing, and then art department guy is walking in, and all of a sudden, just falls from the ceiling. Like, oh my god.
Yep.
Thankfully, no one was hurt. Thankfully.
Yeah.
What's another crazy sad moment?
Well, what's your biggest fuck up on set?
My biggest fuck up on set?
Yeah.
There have been a few. It was not this last movie I did, the one before it, back in like September. We were going out to shoot pass-bys, which is basically you set up your camera on the side of the road and you film the picture car driving by.
Okay.
It passes by, you call it a pass-by. And we switched, typically the DP for that, he's on like Fujinon zooms for most of the day, because they're a 2.9 T-stop, and he just used that for convenience. But when it gets to nighttime, we switch over to the Sigma primes, just because they're like a T1.5. Like they're a lot faster. They let in a lot more light. So we went to go shoot pass-bys, and I had to pack up the follow van with all the stuff that we needed, and I forgot to put the primes in the van with us. He already had like a 50 mil on.
Okay.
From the primes. So he's like, all right. And we'd already been on set for like 13 hours that day.
So you just want to get shit done.
So he was, this is like the last shot we had to get, and we are just going to go home. And he was just like, all right, get the primes out, 35. And I was like, I went to the van, I opened the door, I'm like, fuck. And I closed the door, and I walked back, I'm like, Bill, I'm really sorry, I forgot the primes. He's like, all right, shoot on 50. And like, he made it, like, he just like didn't care at that point. And I was just like, okay, nice. And then there was another time where I was holding the camera for him, just like while he went to go talk. And the director was like, Julien, can you bring the camera over here? And like, if you're a second AC, like, if the director's telling you to do something, you do it. But also kind of remember that the DP is your direct boss. Well, like your second direct boss. Like you're the second, your first AC is your boss, and then the DP is like that's like your boss's boss. But since the DP oversees the camera department, he's like your head boss. So I frame up the camera for him and everything, and then Bill was off like in the washroom or something, and then he comes back, and then he like gave me he's like, never act like a camera operator on set unless you're a camera, and I was like, no, he's right, he's totally right. I told him like I was like, oh, the director asked me to do it. He's like, I know he asked you to do it. He doesn't have any protocol on set. If you did that on like a union IA set, like your DP or your operator would just chew you out and fire you.
Okay.
Yeah, union stuff's rough from what I'm told, and yeah.
So you're pretty much just supposed to stand there and hold the camera then?
Yeah, hold it, wait till he gets back, give it to him. Like,
and then move it.
It's a huge hierarchy on set, and it sounds like shitty, but it helps things run so much more smoothly than if it was like everyone's doing everyone else's job kind of thing.
It is organized to a T, let me tell you that, bro.
Yeah,
like the vans are organized. Like
we have a transport coordinator, and then he has a team of people to like go do pickups, drop-offs, like running errands. Like it's everything is organized, because when you're dealing with that much money, like technically there's still a small budget on the grand scheme of things if you're comparing it to like Hollywood stuff. Like $800K budget is like a good amount. I've worked on a $400K movie, and that's like almost micro budget for what these guys do, and you know it's still organized as shit, because like you have to not fuck up spending your money.
Yeah.
And organization helps that.
And you can't lose anything. Memory cards, like everything is like
yeah,
which is good, because then you're on set and you learn it and you know how to, depends what you're doing, but you know the protocols of everything.
Yeah, once you learn your job, start like once you get really good at your job, start looking at different departments and seeing how they do their job. So even if you take like a daily day in like a different department, like I do camera, let's say I'll do a daily day in group and electric, that just gives me more experience into what makes their lives harder and what makes it easier. And then once I go back to my normal job in the camera department, I can understand how I can make things easier for grip and electric, and what not to do to screw them over kind of thing. Same deal with art department, that kind of stuff.
And then when you do your own stuff, where you're like your indie films, whatever, by yourself,
you can try and organize it a lot more.
Exactly, you know how to do it. It's not like a clusterfuck for no reason.
Another set story. So I got hired to DP my first independent feature, and the guy, it was his first time directing, and I was already worried about it, because you know, a feature, it's a lot. He wanted to do it in 7 days, which is already pretty insane. And then I have stress thinking about this. So shoot the first day, and we had to film like this death scene of just someone dying of a heart attack, and I brought this kind of specialty lens. It was called a Lens Baby, and it basically distorts everything around the center of the frame, and that way everything in the center is like tack sharp focus, but then everything else is kind of like distorted. So I wanted to use that for like her POV of what she was seeing as she was having this heart attack. And I pitched it to the director. I was like, hey, you know, I brought this lens. This is what it looks like. I could use this as her POV. So like I'll lie down where she's lying down right now, and then it's like we're seeing through her eyes. And he was like, what's the POV? And I was like, oh, I'm that kind of fucked. Like like in my head, I'm like, I'm pretty fucked for this. But then like he's like, what's a POV? I'm like, oh, I'm that fucked. I'm that kind of fucked. So
that's next level.
He brought that up, and I was like, oh, okay, this is. And then he shot it down. So I was like, all right, whatever. Like, you're not creative. It's fine. This is your movie. We'll do it the way you want it. And sure enough, I do the day. It was fine. He wanted to do 9-hour days too, because you know he's a guy with kids, and it's like, I get you want to do 9-hour days to get back to your kids, but that's not how movies are done. Movies are done on 14-hour days because we need it. We need the time.
Done. We would get a couple of scenes, dependent.
Yeah, it's like 6-7 scenes tops if you want me to do 9 hours, and that's like if I'm pushing it wide, tight with no inserts or anything. Like, so day 3 rolls around, and we start off. Where did we start off in the morning? Oh yeah, we started off at this cemetery filming this like funeral scene. and we used a gravestone, and it was just, oh my god. He was like, let's use this person's gravestone like that is a person's burial site.
Yeah.
Someone is 6 feet underneath your feet right now. He was like, no, use the backside of it. And I was like, I'm like, so there's no writing on it? He was like, yeah, pretty much. And I'm like, that's
stupid.
I'm like, that's pretty scummy, but all right. Because I would have told him, like, get an urn, because he had like a big photo of the actor, like, as if we were going to be giving like a eulogy, like at a funeral, like, they'll have like a photo of the person and a podium and stuff. So I was like, just get an urn, we'll place that on the podium next to people, and it's like, it's cremated. That way we don't have to be next to a gravestone.
Yeah.
And he was like, no. I was like, okay.
Old school, man.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So did that, and then he didn't understand why I had to do like close-ups for everyone, like the key cast that was watching the pastor give like the eulogy kind of thing. He's like, why do you have to get like shots of all these people reacting? And I'm like, because you need stuff to cut away to.
Yeah.
You need this for safety, because if you don't, you're gonna be in the edit like, well, shit.
Yeah.
And so I get the 7 like they're all key actors. Like, it's not like these are minor people I'm catching. I'm like, oh, this is his son. This is his close work friend, his boss. Like all the characters he's had long interactions with in this movie. I have to get their eye lines and reactions to this. So we do that, and then we go to like this parking lot to get this other scene, finish that off, and then we have to go to his house, which is just down the road from the parking lot. And he delayed lunch by like an hour because he fucked up ordering the pizza. So we're just sitting there waiting for the food to get there. So me and my gaffer just start like planning out how we're gonna do the next few shots, and then food shows up, we eat, and then we get going. And then at the end of the day, we had finished one of the scenes, and he was like, okay, now we have to go to the bathroom. And I was like, I thought that was the last scene. He was like, yeah, but I need this to cut away. And I was like, okay, well, you didn't put this on the call sheet. This wasn't planned. We're now on hour 12 of the 9-hour day that you told me we were having. Can I propose a way that we do this where I don't have to change where I'm sitting, and we just don't have to move locations, and I don't have to light your bathroom.
Yeah.
He's like, why do you have to light the bathroom? I'm like, so it matches.
Holy fuck.
He just didn't get it.
How did this video turn out?
I don't know. So this is my last day. I quit after that.
Okay, yeah.
So, but it gets worse. So he tells me at the end of the day, we're at Jake's apartment for the next 2 days, and we have 26 scenes. 26 scenes to do in 2 days. And then he tells me 18 of those 26 are night scenes. The call time for the next day is 11 a.m. I said, hey, if we have 18 night scenes to do, me and my gaffer were like, give us all the scene, like give us every single scene that we have to do in these 2 days. Give us the scene numbers, tell us the pages of the script. We're going to go break this down and do your job because you clearly aren't going to do it. Yeah. So me and her went to like warehouse. We sat down, had some food, and we just started going over everything. We planned out. Am I wearing the jacket? No, I have the jacket that actually has the paper in it. With like everything we had to do. We had to break it down like a regular call sheet. So you break it down by like scene, if it's interior, exterior, what's happening in it, the page count, which we break down in eighths of pages. So it's like 2 1/8 page kind of thing. How many cast is there, whether it's day or night, and that's the information you're supposed to put on a call sheet, and when you break down a script, so you can accurately plan your shots.
Yeah. Right.
So we did all that, and we restructured both days to give us a fighting chance at making this. And then my gaffer texted me in the morning. She was like, "Remember how we were fucked?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "We're pretty fucked now. I'm like puking my breath at the hospital." I was like,
I quit. I'm done.
So I told the director, I was like, look, there's no way I can do this if Chloe's not there, because, she was the only person who has experience, who knows what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And you guys have to
Yeah, hit your camera.
Yeah.
Oh. This one's still rolling though, so you can.
Okay.
How's it rolling?
Because I restarted mine.
God, motherfucker.
So I was like, she's the only person that can like help me here, unless you can find someone with experience, and you're not going to find someone with enough experience that I need to be able to do this. That's not going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that you're going to find within an hour. So he kept begging me to like stay on set, and I was like, look, just pay me for the time that I've done at my rental, and we're gonna part ways because I can't do this.
Yeah.
And that was probably the worst set experience I've ever had. Just like total unpreparedness from a director and having to step in and do part of their job.
Yeah,
like when you're on set, the DP is supposed to say, okay, frame. That means we have our frame. We're good. We're ready to start. And then the director yells action. So I like get my frame, everything. I'm rolling, and I'm like, okay, frame, and then I'm waiting for him to say action. I'm like 10 seconds go by. I'm like, you gonna say action? He was like, oh, I say action after that. I'm like, yes, you say action after that. I was supposed to say frame to let you know that I'm ready, and then you call action. It turned into me just calling frame and then action for a majority of that shoot.
How much was this guy getting paid? Sorry?
How much was he paying himself, you mean? Because he was funding it?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was funding it himself. He had a $25K budget. He spent $7K on an actress from South Africa. And that was the only reason he was making this project is because he was able to get her attached to it. We spent $7K of 25 on this actress.
Jesus Christ.
Well, it's not that good. In my opinion.
Yeah.
And it screwed us because that meant we couldn't afford a third day in that location to get everything we need. If we had a third day, we would have been fine. I could have broken it up a lot easier. We just didn't have the money because it was wasted.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's shitty.
Yeah. So that was real rough.
Jeez.
Real rough. And then they got me PAs that had like no idea what they were doing.
Oh.
Like it was their first time on set, and I get it. But the one person I tried to explain to her how to do the slate, and the slate, in case you guys don't know what it is, it's like when you have that board that has the information like roll one, scene 26, take one kind of thing, and then you have the director's name and everything.
Your position.
That's my job, actually. Yeah. That's my job on set, is I have to slate, I have to keep a shot log. I'm anal about slates because it's so important that people don't realize it. So I tell this girl how to slate, and I'm like, okay, so you're going to hold the slate about yay distance from me in frame, and then you're going to say scene 30, take one, alpha mark, and then you wait for me to say mark, I'll tell you to mark it, and then you clap it. She was like, cool. Didn't do any of that. Like, none of what it just in ear, one out the other. Like, so she gets in front of the camera. She's like, all right, sound is speeding, camera's in frame, actors ready. And I'm like, what? I'm just sitting there like, my eyes were I was blown away. And she's like, all right, roll. She said the name of she was like, too soon, roll one, scene 24, take one, alpha marking. And I said, mark it. And she clapped it and then walked off. And I was just like, oh, I told her 3 separate times how to do it again. Just kept doing the same thing. And I
just filmed her, man.
And I did. I have footage of that somewhere.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I told the producer, I'm like, get me someone else, fire her.
Yeah.
Because I can't have. And she was I just remember this. It's like having a flashback. So we're losing light.
Yeah.
And I have to get this scene done. And she pretty much slated for me incorrectly. And then walked to the washroom, and I was like, okay, whatever, as long as she doesn't flush the toilet, we're fine.
Yeah.
Flushes the toilet, which I could have lived with. I could have lived with it.
Yeah.
Then she opens the door, which is already, like, I can now hear the toilet go way more than before. And then she starts washing her hands while I'm rolling. And it's a big dramatic scene. I took myself away from the camera, and I said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And she said, "I'm washing my hands." I'm like, "Why? Why did you go to the washroom after you slated?" She was like, "Oh, I forgot we were rolling." And I'm like, "What do you mean you forgot? You slated and then walked into the bathroom, and we yelled action." And then I said, "Fire her."
Holy.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to say she started using the hand dryer, and I goes.
Oh God. She would have if it was there. I guarantee it.
That's some great audio right there. Great Foley.
Shit.
Yeah. And the sound guy's looking at me like,
Like, oh, wait, what?
yeah,
God.
that was like my worst set experience with that indie I worked on.
The director guy was probably totally cool with all of it too, eh?
Oh, he wasn't even giving a single fuck. And I was just like, bro,
Damn.
you gotta start caring.
Shit, that's funny.
I can't be the only one giving a shit here.
That's
Yeah,
so
like, it's
funny.
your production, bro. Like,
It's like, I can make this look as nice as possible, but it's not gonna fix your script or the noise of the fucking sink in the background, okay?
Oh shit, that's
man.
too funny, man.
Oh, God.
Jeez, that's a great story.
Fuck, that's hilarious.
And like I get, like people have to start out somewhere on
Oh,
set,
yeah.
like with
But,
zero
man,
experience. But like, there's certain things like
that's
come
common
on,
sense, dude.
Pay attention. Like, fuck up once, but at least pay attention. Like, that's just no.
yeah. Like I've had my fair share of fuck ups. Like I'm not perfect. I've definitely fucked up
Oh,
before.
everybody does.
As long
But,
as you
like,
haven't done that, dude, you're going somewhere.
As long as the audio guy doesn't hate you, you're fine. It's real hard to piss off the audio guys. Oh yeah.
Shit, that's
at least
funny.
have a head strapped on to yourself, and you're good.
Yeah, head on the shoulders. That's all you need.
Holy shit.
You gotta have your set ears on. You gotta be listening. Like even if you're not doing something, just be listening to what's going on, so you
Yeah.
can know. Okay, I gotta start doing this, or so this is gonna start happening.
Yeah.
Just be aware.
That's too funny,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Damn.
that's.
Shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
But,
Well, talking about that, do you guys do 10-1, 10-2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, 10-1's like I'm going pee, 10-2 is going to take a dump.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a way of telling your higher up, like, hey, I gotta go 10-1. Like, it's like,
It
can
just sounds
can
better.
I go to the bathroom?
okay,
It just
yeah.
sounds better. So, like,
It's like, hey, can I go take a shit? It's like,
yeah. Especially if you have clients there,
yeah.
That's fair.
it's just good practice.
Yeah, in front of actors too, like, hey, we're gonna take a dump.
No, that's fair. That's
Yeah,
She doesn't even call that. She just walks straight in.
yeah.
Oh.
Just like
Claps
walked in.
it. Yo, 10-1.
Hey, 10-1, we're good? It's like, I would have rather she said 10-1 so I could say no.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's just straight to the washroom.
It's like, can you wait till we're done this 2-minute long take that's a 3-page scene, please?
Holy shit.
Oh,
That's hilarious.
What's a typical like breakdown like a day
Of a
for you
day?
on set? Let's go small budget where you're the guy clapping the board.
right,
And
yeah.
then let's go like full budget where you're the camera operator.
Well, no, it'd be small budget. I'd be the operator because they'd pay. So, like, I'd operate my own stuff and like independent films, and that's small, micro budget. And then the bigger stuff, they hire like these older guys that have been doing this for years and years and years. I think the most like big budget production I did was that music video, or I worked on a TV show it's going up on Prime, I think.
Shit.
It's called Age of the Living Dead. I did camera operator for that, just because the DP knew me and we had the same camera. It was Sony, so he was like, just come be my B cam op for this. 2 days of that with him. But a typical day on set on the big stuff when I'm second AC is if it's our first day, we load into the location, we find a spot for our stuff. I set up a director's monitor. It's basically just, putting a receiver on a C-stand with a monitor, making sure the camera's sending signal to it, and that's where it's called Video Village for a lot of people. They're just like, hey, where's Video Village set up? And I'm like, it's over there. And then, depending on the crew, it'll take us like an hour or 2 hours to get the first shot off. I mean, typically it's in the first hour you get your first shot off. And then we just start rolling into it 1 one after, and we don't really like break unless we have to do like wardrobe changes or stuff like that. So load in, set up director's monitor, put media in the camera, make sure we have fresh batteries. The second AC's job is kind of just making sure the camera department runs smoothly. Whereas like the first AC, he builds the camera for the operator, and then he pulls focus, and that's his job. Yeah. He'll put the card into the camera when I give him a fresh one, format it, and that's pretty much the extent of what he does. Like that's where our jobs interlap. Like it's just in that moment, and then he'll adjust settings on the camera for the operator if the operator can't do it at the time, kind of thing. Yeah. But me, it's mostly I'm slating, scene 35 alpha, take one, mark, and it's like that's what I do. It's a lot of physical. I'm doing lens changes. Like, hey, can we get the 35? Pop the caps off, walk over to it. You have to hold it a certain way. You have to hold it like close to your chest, one hand bottom, one hand in the center. Yeah. Then when you hand it to your first AC, you hand it to them like this, and you have to wait for them to say got it, so you can ensure you haven't like just let go of a lens before they've had it fully. Right. So you give it to them, and then you take theirs, you walk back to the lens case, put it away, and then depending on what follow focus they're using, you give them like a strip that has like the measurements marked out on it. So like the guy I work with now, he's using a Bartech, and that has like little whiteboard plastic strips that you put on the focus ring that we've pre-marked during our prep to have the proper distances on them. So around lunch, we have an hour to just chill, eat, that kind of stuff, and then we're pretty much back into it. Like my whole day is just kind of making sure everything gets done properly. The most important part of my job, though, is just making sure media makes it to the DMT, data management technician, and that everything's slated and noted properly in the report book. That way, we're not losing footage. We're not getting double new stuff. We're not misslating. Yeah. Like that is so important for organization that I think people don't even realize like how important that is for big format films. It's like, oh, we have 200 scenes to do in this whole movie. I really hope we don't get an extra of scene 36 alpha. It's like, okay, now there's 36 alphas. Which one is the right one? Which one corresponds to what we need? Like, it's really easy to throw a wrench in everything. If you lose media too, that's thousands. Like you've lost thousands of dollars for that production company now.
Yeah,
insane.
Yeah,
that's right.
Do filter swaps, that kind of stuff. Like, oh, can I get a quarter classic, black pro mist, or ND? Like, I just put it in the filter tray, pop it into the map box, tighten it down, that kind of stuff. And then there's the order of how you put it in. You go ND, color, and then any other third filter that you might have, just because that's the best way for light to come through the way it should.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, and then I kind of like, I learn from watching like the DPs and the ops, just like how they do stuff differently versus how I do stuff. And that's actually really beneficial. Because once you like, it was actually when I was doing comedy, I got this bit of advice, and I feel like it translates to a lot of professions. Hang out and talk with the people you want to be. Yeah. Don't hang out with people at the same level as you too often. And they were just referring to like, go to the pro shows where like it's a headliner for the weekend. Go in the green room, talk, chat. Oh, yeah. Like if you're a comedian, you can just go in the green room and chill. It doesn't even matter if you're on or not, unless it's like a big comedian who's headlining that weekend who doesn't want anyone in the green room and just kind of stay out of there. But like go, chat, talk, learn. And the same thing applies for film. I find that since I started working on bigger sets, people who are a lot more experienced than me, I've learned a lot more about lighting, camera principles, that kind of stuff, and more than I would have if I was just shooting alone or shooting with other people at the same level as me.
Right.
Like we would have eventually gotten to levels where we would be like that, but it would have taken us longer. To get there. Oh, yeah. And I'm not saying I'm there. Like I'm nowhere near there where I want to be. I don't feel that that's ever something you ever really get to. I think the best part about being successful is you never think you're successful.
No, you always go higher.
Yeah, you're never happy with, like, you're happy with your own work to an extent, but you're never like content with it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a sign of someone who really wants to, just keep elevating themselves. And working on set has definitely given me more perspective on how I have to grow to get to where I want to be.
Yeah.
And like all those like little ways of like how to gaff and like those little things that you don't know how to do, you learn on set, and like that'll give you like a whole like 2 years advance.
Yeah,
because now you know all this shit. You're not actually learning it for those 2 years.
100%. Like if someone told me like, hey, we have a daily day coming up, and we need a best boy and like grip or electric, it's like, okay, I'll take it. Like I haven't done it before, but I've been on set enough, and I want to actually learn the hands-on of what it takes. You become such a more well-rounded filmmaker by doing the stuff that you wouldn't normally do. Like I'll take a day in art department. Sure, I'll dress the fucking Christmas tree. Sure, like let me learn what they have to do to make their day run.
It also allows you to make more money as well.
Yeah, it allows you to make more money as well. Like camera department is really cushy, but like it's camera department's sweet. You don't have to do shit sometimes. But it's hard work, and that's what people don't get about films, is that it's not this thing of like, oh, movie magic. It's like we're out there busting our asses.
Oh yeah, 14 hours a day, like nonstop.
Oh yeah, like I don't have time for regular life when I'm filming, like because like this next movie I start tomorrow, we're out in Kentville, at like the hospital there. We're staying as a mental asylum, and it's 13 hours in Kentville, an hour drive there, and an hour drive back. I'm doing a 15-hour day. So it like I don't have time to do like, oh, I got laundry to do. Time to start doing some laundry. When I'm going to fucking bed. I got to be up in like 10 hours to do this all again. Sometimes not even 10 hours. Like I have to be on set in 10 hours, which means I have to be asleep for 8 of those at most. And then get up and drive. So it's like you lose time for yourself, but I've found that it's stressful and it's time consuming, but I just love doing it so much that I don't care.
It's worth it, bro.
I really don't give a shit.
Like a lot of people, that's what a lot of people think filmmaking is easy. Holy fuck, it's hard.
It's really difficult.
It's like like photography is easy compared to that.
Compared to that,
I mean, it depends what you're doing. If you're going on crazy sets, like. And you still have to set all the light and everything, but like you're busting 14 hours a day. It's insane.
Yeah, like even like wedding photographers have a hard day. Those guys, I would not want to be a wedding photographer ever, because they don't get like do-overs.
No,
like they do and they don't, because like we have the option of cutting around stuff. They don't. It's like if they miss a shot, they're fucked, or if they miss that's so much more stressful to me than what we do for weddings.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, that's why you stay buddies with your video guys. They can clip a frame here and there if you need to.
If they're shooting 4K.
Yeah.
1080p still works, but
4K.
Like, hey, you got this frame here.
I've done it so many. Like not because I fucked up, just like because that's how we do it.
Yeah.
Like we would shoot for red and we would just cut frames and use those.
Yeah.
Like,
the red resolution when you cut a frame is great.
Well, it's insane. Like it's not the same quality as a picture that you take with a camera, because it's just
it's
different.
It's a 14-bit RAW for pictures. Like it's the color depth for photos is way higher than video a lot of the times on most cameras. So of course, if like the only way we're getting anything close to a raw photo is if we're shooting on a red, where we're taking like a 12-bit raw file and clipping it. Like that's it. Yeah.
I'm gonna cut right here for a sec.
Back in.
That's cool. Yeah, we're good. All right. So, what are some tips for anyone like trying to get into shooting big production videos, or anyone like trying to start shooting short films,
or just trying to get into that industry?
Yeah.
My best recommendation: say yes to things a lot. I only ended up in film kind of by accident, but that's because I said yes to like a PA job that ended up turning into me being a camera operator for this like Bell TV show, just because they were using FS7s, and that was the camera I used in college. So I was like, hey, you have a third camera here. Do you want me to set it up for you guys? And she was like, do you know how to do that? And I was like, yeah. She's like, how about this? How about we pay you as an operator, and I give you a list of B-roll to go get like during the day while we go shoot the interview stuff and like these other talking segments. And then you just come back to me at lunch, and then for the big interview we'll use all 3 cameras. And I was like, Sweet, I'll do that.
Fuck, that's not bad.
And then she got offered a job as a second AC, but she couldn't take it because she had to work on the show that we just shot. So she was like, "Hey, you want it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." It was my first time ever doing it. I'd never done it before.
Yeah.
And being a second AC for 2 cameras, and one of the first ACs was a nightmare. Yeah. It's usually like 2 firsts, 2 second, two firsts for a production. If you have 2 cameras, it's like 1 first, 1 second for each camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like you're supposed to have your own dedicated second AC if you have a first. It's like I was doing that for both cameras. It was a nightmare.
Oh.
Like one of them was directly my boss, and the other one was like kind of my boss. It was like I'm supposed to respond to A camera.
Yeah.
Priority over B camera, but like I still have to help B camera, so it was confusing for me. But say yes to a lot of things because you never know where things will lead you.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's something you wouldn't normally do. Like I was strapped for money at the time, so I was like, I'll take this PA job. It's $250 a day. It's pretty high PA pay. So I took that, and then that led me to being a second AC. Also go on like the Facebook groups. There's one called Ottawa Filmmakers that has like tons of like small indie people looking for stuff, and whether it's like a small day rate or like no pay, just go get some experience. And then there's another one called, I think it's Looking for Crew. Here, I'll pull it up right now, just so I can actually give you guys the proper name for it.
Do you have to get accepted into them?
Yeah, you just the admin approves you.
Okay, yeah.
Looking.
Yeah, because I think I'm in the film one because Ian got me in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this group is called I Need a Producer /Fixer /Crew Canada Edition, and then there's tons of like postings in here like for whatever. Like I'm scrolling right now. Hey everyone, Proper Television is looking for an experienced documentary researcher in Toronto. Like I mean that's a more experienced position, but like people just post jobs in there all the time. Like, hey everyone, we're looking for an editor to work on 2 video series with 3 years of experience. I mean, it's easy to get 3 years of editing experience. You just have to edit stuff. Like, you can edit one project a year for 3 years. You have 3 years of editing experience.
Yeah.
It's a weird way to phrase things. Paid shoot notice, Toronto. I need a sound engineer. I need someone who's good with audio. Like, there's tons of jobs in this group if you're Canadian, and I'm sure there's an American one too if you have American listeners. But like, just go out on Facebook, try that I Need a Producer group, try the Ottawa Filmmakers group. Like you're gonna find stuff, and then if you want to start making your own stuff, write. That's the biggest thing. Like I have trouble doing my own stuff because I'm not that strong of a writer. Like I have ideas, but I'm not the best at writing, which I'm trying to improve on. I'm more like geared in the sense where like, give me a project and let me figure out how to make it look as best as I can.
Right.
That's what I like doing. So I might have story ideas in my head, but I just don't have like the follow through to actually write them out into a full-fledged script. And that's something I definitely have to work on. But if you want to start making your own stuff, like short films, I really recommend just writing stuff out. Like, I wrote a script, it was like 3 years ago. It was absolute dog shit. We ended up making it, and you learn stuff for making a dog shit script. Like you're not gonna not learn stuff.
Yeah.
If you're gonna learn what not, like Gary Vee says, you gotta fall in love with losing to be successful. You gotta really just embrace losing just to know how to better yourself. And I believe that's true for no matter what you do in life. Whether it's business, surgery, law school, anything, like just be okay with losing. I find that's something that a lot of creatives have a hard time with, is being told your product or your video is shit.
And too much ego, man. Way too much ego.
There's so much ego in what we do that people have to really learn to remove themselves from it. Like, I've given creative criticism to someone before, and they've been like, "Well, what do you know? It's my video." It's like, okay, I'm just trying to like give you some kind of input. I'm giving you some kind of input. Like, I might not be your client, but I'm someone who's viewing it, and I might be like, if I want to recommend you to someone, like, you never know who is going to do what for you in the world. So always be open to just taking criticism, if someone's just being a dick to be a dick,
Yeah.
just shrug it off.
Yeah.
Like you have no idea what they're going through. They're probably dealing with their own bullshit and they're projecting onto you, kind of thing. But like, just be okay and be prepared to hear, your short film script is pretty garbage, because 9 times out of 10 it is. Like,
I mean, it's better to have that, and then in the long run, that saves you so much money, especially if you're trying to make a feature film.
Yeah, if you're trying to make a feature, don't try and do it on your first try. For example, the guy that I just talked about, that was his first time directing ever, and he never directed a short or anything. He just was like, here's $25K I'm throwing into a feature, and it's my first. I'm gonna direct it. It's like, no. How about you spend some time making some no-budget short films, 5-minute short films that turn out to be awful. That way you can know what to do right for your feature when you actually have money on the line.
Yeah, because that's a lot of waste, man.
That's a lot. Like, who knows? He might have been comfortable blowing $25K. He might have had this saved up for a very long time, and it was money he knew he could get away with without hurting himself financially. Sure, that might be the case, but that's not the case for everyone. So don't. It's okay to throw $100, $200 in your own production because, I need this prop or something like that. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah. Don't put $5K into your short if it's your first time, or if it's your 6th time. Yeah, throw some cash into it. Yeah. You might be able to make some really good stuff if you throw a little money behind it. It doesn't have to be a lot either. It could be a short amount. Yeah. Small amount, sorry. And if you have friends that are in the film industry, ask hey, do you know if any of the departments are hiring? It doesn't have to be a department that you want to work in. Just get on set. Mm-hmm. And then you start talking to people in those departments hey, this is what I really want to do. And then, it's oh, you want to work in grip and electric and you're in the art department right now? Talk to the gaffer.
Yeah.
The best advice I got for working on set is be approachable, be likable, be easy to work with, know your shit, know what you don't know, and learn from all of it. And if you're overall just pleasant to work with, you will get hired back.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you screw up and you own it, make yourself accountable. Because once you become accountable and you start working to fix what you just ruined or fucked up, they're like, okay, he messed up, but he moved right into problem solving.
Yeah.
He didn't sit around being like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He got to it and fixed it. Mm-hmm. Did what he could. So if you just kind of show that initiative, you will get hired. And, it goes back to the whole saying yes to things you wouldn't normally do. Yeah. Just go outside your comfort zone because you never know where it's going to lead you. Yeah. My buddy wants to get, he wanted some set experience, and on this next movie, I'm the first AC for the first 4 days because my regular first is off doing university applications for law school. Yeah. So great for him. So I'm doing first AC, and then I brought in someone who I know has done second for the first few days, and he told me he couldn't do 1 day. So I was like, you know what? It's the 3rd day of the production. I'll be settled in. We're in the same location for the first 6 days. Let me see if I can get my friend Ramsey in. So I called him. I was like, hey, what are you doing on the 24th of November? He was like, nothing. I'm like, okay, you're coming to work with me on set. I need a second AC. Mm-hmm. He came over last night, and I just showed him a bunch of stuff. I have some of the gear with me at the house, the camera and lenses, just because we can't have it being in the trailer overnight. Yeah. Just because it gets too cold. So, just tell people that who are if you know anyone in the industry, just tell them you're hungry and you're looking for something.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll try and help you. Yeah. Unless they're total assholes. But people will try and help you. And just be a nice person and people will help you in some way. This whole idea of I'm self-made, I didn't have help, it's bullshit. It doesn't exist. If people will help you if you sorry about that. People will help you if you're open to criticism, if you are easy to work with. No one, Bill Gates definitely had help along the way.
Yeah, no.
Mark Zuckerberg is an asshole. He's an exception. No, but all these people definitely had people help them at some point in their life, and that's something that people don't talk about because it's not as glamorous as saying I was weak and I needed help. It's no, you weren't weak. It was, you knew what you needed to improve on, and you didn't know how to do it, so you found someone to help you get better at it.
That's how you climb up the ladder, man.
That's how you climb up and elevate yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, well, roll into the Instagram questions.
Oh, we got some Instagram questions.
Yeah.
We got some good ones for you, man.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Okay.
so for those of you that don't follow us on Instagram, at Born2CREATE Podcast, sometimes we'll drop stories asking if you guys have any questions for our guests.
Please answer questions.
Yeah, please ask questions, because people suck at asking questions. Cough, cough.
Yeah.
But I think this guy's your buddy just because of the question he asked.
Yeah, so talking about questions.
The Greasy Fix Media asks, if you're on set and someone has a jar of peanuts as a prop, what do you do?
This is either Brandon or Keishan, and if it is, fuck both of you. For those of you who don't know, I'm deathly allergic to peanuts, and that's the joke they're getting at. So if someone gave me some nuts, I'd say, hey, the fuck are you doing? Get this out of my face. That's probably what I would do. Or I would say, hey, give me some gloves so I can actually work with this.
Yeah, because it would be a prop, right? So you'd have to use it on set.
Yeah, and there's actually been times like that where they've had that stuff on set, and I've just like had to tell the AD to like tell everyone like wash their hands if they were handling the prop or like around the place where it was, kind of thing. It's life. I'm used to it. Yeah. Fuck you, Brandon, or Keisha, whichever one asked you. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Alright, let's roll into the lightning round.
Okay.
The Uno question we have.
Oh, wait. See, you're bad. See, this is why I got lightning round.
I got one job.
Lightning round. This guy has one job and can't even get it. Alright, do you know what lightning round is?
No, I don't.
Okay, so basically 10 questions answered off the top of your head.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. I'm
sure?
thinking like deeply now. Like,
Okay.
I'm just
Famous person you'd like to shoot.
Ooh, that is tough. Like I'm the camera operator, and then they're just like in the movie I'm making, kind of thing, or like
Yeah.
That's really tough. I just watched Jack Ryan on Amazon Prime. John Krasinski's the lead actor. I'd love to work with John Krasinski. He seems like a really cool guy. That or if I could go back, Bruce Lee probably.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, those are my top two.
Filming that would be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be dope, yeah. Piece of advice you've received.
Piece of advice I received was, just be pleasant to work with, and people will want to hire you again. I mean, it's kind of just simple. Just don't be a dick. Is the simple way to put it. Don't be an asshole. Don't let your ego get in the way, and you're good.
Yeah, 100%. Morning or night person?
Ooh, night person for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could live anywhere, where would it be?
Oh, it used to be I'd live in New York City. That was for the longest time what I thought I wanted to do. But then I went out to Vegas, and the desert is so good for my asthma that I was like, I gotta live in California because it's pretty much similar. There's not as much humidity as the East Coast.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, California would be like my top pick right now. If someone told me tomorrow, hey, there's like a PA job in California, but you have to live there for like a month. Fuck it, I'm moving. Tell me the pay's $150 American. I don't give a shit. That's like 200 Canadian here. Yeah. It's like it's fine. I'd move to California 100% though.
Dinner with 3 celebs.
Matt Damon.
Okay.
Can they be alive? Is alive?
Alive or dead?
Bruce Lee. Who else?
Got one more.
I got one more. This is very tough, actually.
Yeah.
Probably Emma Stone. Yeah.
Okay.
She's like my favorite female actress. Yeah.
Okay.
Not even like I think she's so hot kind of. I just really like her work.
That's fair. Yeah.
Seems like a funny person too. From all like the BCS stuff I've seen of her.
Best learning experience so far.
Best learning experience so far. Just in life or in my field?
In anything. I know it's very broad.
No, there are definitely some moments where you got to kind of put yourself first. And that's not really a learning. A learning experience would be like, I stressed about something for too long. But like, I'm just going to give advice here. I mean, like, you got to take time for yourself in this industry. Because you can burn yourself out really quickly, and you can also forget to make time for people who are important to you. Like, relationships can suffer and that kind of stuff.
Very, yeah.
But if you learn to say no too sometimes, because like say yes to stuff, but also learn to know when to say no.
Yeah.
Money's great. It's awesome. I love it. We all love it. But sometimes it's not as important as maintaining personal relationships with people and letting those fall aside. Like, my best friend will always know that work comes first, no matter what, but it doesn't mean I'm any less of his friend because of it.
Yeah.
And my family knows that, work comes first, but I still got to make time to show them I actually give a shit, because like they may know, yeah, he loves us, but never hangs out with us, never makes time for us. So it's like, take some time. It's like one day, just spend it with your family, spend it with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, like your dog, even if you play with your dog.
Yeah.
Like, they miss you. My dog misses the shit out of me after a 13-hour day.
Yeah.
So you just gotta take time for yourself.
Life's too short, man. Like, work's work, but like,
work's work. Even if you love what you do, you gotta take a break.
Yeah, you can work all your life. You only have so many people in your life for so long, so just
exactly
fucking make the best of it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
First thing you'd buy if you won $1 million.
If I won $1 million, actually, I'd probably like pay off any debt my parents have first, and then spend the rest on myself. So let's just say I'd take away like $100,000 or whatever. Off that, I'd probably do like a full studio build. So I'd probably buy a house and then set up a studio in there. I'd buy a house for like $250,000, and then like outright, I wouldn't do mortgage. I'd just take my money.
Yeah.
And then I'd spend the rest of it on like a film. So I'd probably buy a full traditional film camera.
That'd be sick.
Like a Red or an Alexa kind of thing, and then rig that out, set up a studio in my house, and that way I can do client projects at my house, and then also have like a camera to rent out if I want to.
That's how you make
Like,
money, man.
You might always have projects that call for you to use an Alexa, but if you own an Alexa, you can rent out your Alexa and make $1,000 a day for a base package.
Oh yeah, you make your money back in a couple of years.
Yeah, a couple of years it's back.
100%.
Yeah.
Who would you call if you got put into jail?
Oh, my dad, 100%. Like, my dad would give me shit, but he'd also show up and be like, okay, what the fuck?
Why'd you do this time?
Or I'd probably call, probably one of my good friends. Like, I have a friend who, if I ever get in shit with like my parents, like, this was back in high school when I used to do this, but we'd go somewhere I wasn't supposed to be going, and then like parents would be like, where the fuck were you? I'd be like, oh, I was at Brendan's house, and then they'd be like, I don't believe you, call him, and then
just no matter what, your back.
Yeah, he just always went with whatever. Like, I'd be like, hey, I was at your house like last night, right? And he'd be like, yeah, and then he would start spewing out the lies, and then I'd go off what he said, and then it became a full-fledged story, and then I'd get myself out of trouble.
That's fucking awesome. That's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Mac or PC?
Ooh, mobile editing, Mac. For mobile editing, if I have to go somewhere. But if it's at home, I'm using my PC 100% of the time.
And the last and final question, what would you tell your younger self?
Oh, that's deep.
I know.
I went through a lot of shit growing up, so I'd probably just tell them, it gets better. It gets a lot better. I went through some stuff where I was bullied a lot growing up and stuff like that, and I had a few heart surgeries. Life wasn't the best growing up just because of all that. It was very sad growing up. Sorry to bring it here, everyone. But I'd tell my younger self, hold on. Like, things are going to get better. You have your family, and it's great, and you're going to make friends that are going to be awesome, and you're going to have them forever. And just learn that high school and elementary school, like pretty much your entire like first 15 years of life, it's not forever. It's 15 years.
Yeah.
It's like I wouldn't tell my 1-year-old self that.
15 years.
Go back to like 4th grade, tell myself like, hey, you're gonna be done in like 8 years.
Yeah.
And I know it seems like a long time, but it goes by. It went by so quickly, and then like in the grand scheme of things, 8 years becomes such a small part of your life. It'll literally become 1/10 of your life out at some point.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So things get better. You're gonna find what you love, and you shouldn't be self-conscious about what you like to do for fun or who you are, because that's what makes you you.
Yeah. Well, you survived the lightning round.
Yeah, great. I'm glad I survived this.
Record time.
Yeah.
Better than me, bro.
No, thank you guys for having me on this podcast, man. It's been a lot of fun talking with you.
Where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook, just Julien Mamazza, JulienMamazza.
We'll have it linked.
I spell it out just because like people be like, oh, Julian with an A. It's like, oh, okay. And then people don't spell my last name right. They think there's like a T in there. Kind of thing. Yeah, find me on Instagram, Facebook. I'm getting to work on a YouTube channel right now just so I can post up some of my content. Gonna probably clear out the one that I have, the Julien Mamazza one, because I just want it to be my name. So I'm gonna clear out the one that I have now that has like some class projects on it and stuff from a while ago. And then I'm gonna start uploading some stuff onto there. So Julien Mamazza on YouTube, if you want to find that. There's nothing great on there yet, so just hold off.
Stay tuned, bro.
Stay tuned. Something's coming.
Yeah, better than Vimeo.
Yeah.
Everything will be linked in the description below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this episode. You can find us on Instagram at BORN2CREATE podcast. Pay attention to our stories. We'll be, letting you guys know who future guests are. We can ask questions. You can also see us kind of behind the scenes editing stuff and that whatnot there. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, like, share, do all that fun stuff if you'd like to. If you're listening to this on iTunes and on Spotify, do leave us a nice rating to help us grow in the charts. You can find me on Instagram at acef.media.
And François Mittens, all over the place.
Yeah, same, all over the place.
There you go.
Thanks a lot for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
Peace out, everyone, and stay woke.